If you want to be more efficient and effective while running your business with more inner peace, then working on the core of your issues instead of putting on a band-aid is vital. Welcome to the Business Brain Podcast.
I'm your host, Esty Rapport, and here to help you improve your 28 cognitive functions, the 28 things that make up thinking. In each episode, we'll discuss a real-life challenge, why you might be struggling with it, and give you practical strategies so all areas of your life will improve. Harry joined Optimize Your ADHD Brain while his business was growing at a rapid pace. He needed to hire at least a dozen new roles, yet he was worried his business would collapse due to his employees. He shared how he went through a long interview process where he knew the people he hired had the skills and the ambition, yet for some reason they weren't doing what he wanted them to do. Deadlines were missed, work had to get redone a few times, everything was just a mess. And why was that with everyone? It can't be that all 45 employees were wrong. It didn't take long for us to figure out that it came down to one of his own weak thinking skills. As soon as we improved this thinking skill and made simple shifts in his culture, not only did his employees do work in the best way possible, they also shared how much they loved working there. If you're experiencing something similar, I'm here to tell you, you do not have to struggle forever. In this episode 487 of the Business Brain Podcast, I'm going to share with you the exact steps of what you can do to have your own transformation. But first, take a moment to leave a rating and review because yes, it helps the podcast more than you know. Don't forget to screenshot it and send it to me so I can give you a shout out. While you are doing any task, you, without even realizing it, are using your 28 thinking skills. When the thinking skills you need to use are strong, doing the task happens easily. If the thinking skills you need to use is weak, doing the task will be a challenge. The struggle that Harry had came from a weak thinking skill of precision. Precision is the only thinking skill that comes up twice. Once when we're taking in information and another time when we're giving information. In Harry's case, he lacked precision when giving over the information, causing his employees to not fully understand what he wanted from them. He thought he gave over the info, but it was only part of the info. And it wasn't common or culture among the staff to make sure you're getting precise information. You see, as a leader, it is your responsibility to give over precise information. It's also your responsibility to create a culture among your employees to make sure that they know they are getting precise information. And if not, that they feel comfortable enough to ask for clarity and get more precise information. To help Harry, I wanted to make sure his general thinking skill of precision was strong. So whenever Harry was giving over information, whether he was talking to me in a session, he was leading a team meeting, he was sending an email, whatever it was, I had him take the time to make sure he was being precise. If it was during a session, I would literally stop him mid-sentence if he wasn't being precise and ask him to clarify and say it in a more precise manner. And while in the beginning it took a moment and he really had to think about it, over time it started happening naturally. So this helped with precision generally, but we wanted to also make sure Harry was like super laser focused and super strong in being precise when communicating with his team. I had him do 3 things, which created a culture of wanting to have the precise information and making sure you had that precise information before you began doing a task. Number 1, when giving over a task to anyone, no matter how small it was, is telling them what time and date you expect it by. Often it's these little tiny things that end up dragging out forever, and then it affects bigger projects and bigger situations, but people didn't understand the urgency of it or how fast they needed to get done, especially when they have other priorities. So when you give it a due date and you give it a time and date and when it has to happen, people know like, okay, I'm going to make sure to get it done by that. Also train your employees that in case the manager forgot to give them a due date, that they ask, okay, when do you need this by? And this was among the employees also. If you're giving your coworker something else to do or asking them to help you out with something, it goes together with a due date. Every task, everything, no matter how big or how small, had a time and date when it was due. Number 2, I had Harry define keywords in any conversation. What does it mean, a potential lead? What does it mean, 100% back money guarantee. These things may seem obvious, but the other person may translate it slightly differently. And then afterwards, it ends up creating lots of miscommunication and misunderstandings, and people don't know what's flying. So whenever communicating, if there's a big word, an important word, take that extra couple of seconds to define exactly what you mean. That way everyone is on the same page. And once again, while Harry is demonstrating this, it is also creating a culture of everybody defining keywords in their conversation. Number 3, encouraging questions. There's no such a thing as a bad question or a stupid question or a small question. Every question is a good question, helps create clarity to everyone, and we can all understand it better. It really creates an environment of growth, opening, and learning. When Harry joined Optimizer ADHD Brain, he was humble enough to realize at Canvey that all 45 employees had something going wrong. There was something in the way his brain was thinking and operating that was causing these challenges. The overall miscommunication in his business was due to his weak thinking skill of precision. By improving his thinking skill of precision and creating a culture of wanting to get precise information, communication issues, misunderstandings, all that dropped as everybody now was all on the same page. Your challenge this week is to take an extra minute when giving over information to make sure it's as precise as possible. Remove vague words, give deadlines, and make sure the other person is completely clear about what you expect them to do. It's your job as a leader to make sure they understand. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.
That's all for this episode of the Business Brain Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with 2 of your business friends so they too can gain from it, and you'll be helping us reach our goal of 1 million downloads by the end of 2025. Cheers to peak brain performance.